Can you identify the following names? Miss Zeller, Donald, Sammy, Bones, Mas Gussie, Johnny, Bubbles. On which lane did you meet them? Okay, Lime Tree Lane. I'm about to take you on a promenade with the creator of those characters. But truth be told, this educator's life has the elements of a well-crafted script. As a student, she took a mathematics test from outside the classroom window and passed it. The trouble is she wasn't registered for it. Thank God, Mrs. Melita Samuels didn't ride her donkey Jane to the studio. Even with the north-south highway, the journey would have been just too much from Hampton, St. James. This is Profile. I am Faye Ellington. Now, I've heard all kinds of stories, but doing a mathematics test from outside the school window? Miss Mel, how are you?
I greet you well.
Why did you do this test outside the classroom window?
Well, I wasn't allowed to sit in the class. We are talking about evening lessons, which was very important. And I wasn't taking lessons in those days. I couldn't take lessons because there were others before me. They were taking lessons and they could not afford me. Lesson was
You mean your family couldn't afford to have you do lessons?
Yes, because they couldn't afford it because it was 2 shillings per month for lessons. So, and again, apart from that, I was chosen to be the farmer. And my father really wanted a boy to help him on the farm. The others were doing lessons because to be honest with you, they were Brownings.
Oh, I see.
And then,
so the color played a part in your
yes.
life.
And they were taking lessons and they were so well put together.
So you're the seventh of what, 9 children?
I was the 7th. And it beats me why I was selected to be the farmer.
How old were you when you were given those responsibilities?
I began when I was about 12 because I went to school at 7. I always want to go to school before 7, but they told me the right age was 7. So I would run, peep, come back, my father wanted me to do the farming even when I was 6, 5, because he wanted a farmer.
So he never had any boys?
Yes, he had one boy, but the boy, he too was doing lessons. And when you're doing lessons, you don't do farming because you're very important, you know, you walk with many books on your side and lean it up. So I was chosen to be the farmer. And later on in life, I became the farmer and the seller of the produce.
Let us begin at Hampton. That's where you were born.
Yeah.
What were those early years like when you were 5 and 6?
Those were
Hampton in St. James.
Those were good days because my father would make cane sugar. He had a mill. So
And what him used to use to draw the mill?
The
mule or the donkey?
Mule and donkey and cow and whatever.
So
was
let us just
used.
fix this, because some of you are hearing about mill and you have no clue what we're talking about. We're talking about the mill that you would have if you grow sugar cane, and that is how you made your sugar, and it was wet sugar.
Wet sugar.
So how many coppers you had? Because you used to have...
You had 2.
Yes.
And you had a boiling house. And of course, he had a large acres of sugar cane because he would sell to the Barnett Estate. And then, so you would have the sugar being made, the cane being sold by truck, and yours truly would help to load the truck.
How did you manage that? Because you're still small in frame.
Oh, yes, but I don't know if I was small. I was fat. And as I said before, I was marked to be the farmer. So
did you want to be the farmer?
No, I did not want to be the farmer. I prayed. I said, Lord, help me to be somebody in life, to come to something in life. I didn't want to be a farmer. But remember, the others were taking lessons. I mean, you're taking lessons. You don't do those manual tasks. You're taking lessons.
These lessons that you speak of, what were they for?
After school, to take an exam.
What exam was it?
First, Jamaica local examination, second Jamaica local examination, and third Jamaica local examination.
Again, let me intercede here. This was long before GC, O level, and long
Oh,
before C-Sec and
yes.
all these things. And if I'm not mistaken, if you took 8 subjects, you'd have to get all 8.
All 8.
Or you have to do them over
Or
again.
do them over, or you fail. And then that was why I got caught up in lessons. I really, because I wanted to take a lesson, and I had to go home in the evening to water the cow. In the morning, I would take the milk to the truck for the condensary, and in the evening, I had to go home to water the cow. There was no time for me to take lessons.
So did you have to milk the cows as well?
No, my father would milk the cow and give me the milk, and I run to the road, and a truck would pass, collect the milk, take it to Bagwalk to make condensed milk.
Where were you living at that time?
Hampton.
In St. James?
In St.
And the
James.
truck would take it all the way to Bob
Oh,
Walk?
yes. It would drive to all the districts and collect the milk and drive with it so that they would have enough milk to make condensed milk.
So your father was farming. What was your mother doing?
Having babies, many of them.
9 of you.
13.
13?
Yes. But again, she would help with the farming. She would weed the place, and she would sow. She would sew things for people.
Clothing?
And, yes. And she would help my father with the farm. And help the men to cook the food for the men
Who work on the
who
farm?
work on the farm.
Did you ever learn to cook?
Yes, I learned to cook. I can still cook.
Melita, every time I look at your face, you make me laugh. So,
I can
Melita
still cook. I
Samuels
still
is my
remember-
guest.
I still remember how to cook. But in those days, what you cook was so different from what you cook now.
What were you cooking those days?
In those days, you cook your dumpling and your red fruit and the yam that we grow on the field.
What kind of yam you grew?
Yellow yam and white yam.
You
And
never
what-
cook any cassava?
Yes, we did cassava and badu and
Badu?
yes, badu. That was an awful food. But you eat it anyhow, and it was sold. And then, what I detested most of all was to take the things to sell to the market.
What do you mean?